Resurrection Day,
and welcome to City on a Hill Kids Church Online. I'm Lola.
And I'm Jamie. Today we're going to be talking about the resurrection.
But that will be after a time of worship.
Run, Peter, run, run to the grave. Run, Peter, run, the stone is rolled away. Run, Peter, run, what do you see? Jesus is alive, the grave is empty. He's alive, he's alive, the stone is rolled away. He's alive, he's alive, I see the empty grave. Run, Peter, run, go tell your friends. Run, Peter, run, Jesus rose again. Run, Peter, run, tell them good news. Jesus is alive, I'll shout it for you. He's alive, he's alive, the stone is rolled away. He's alive, I see the empty grave. Peter remembered the night that he said, I do not know this man. Now he is forgiven by Jesus is Lord, and his life can begin again. Oh, run, Peter, run to the grave. Run, Peter, run, the stone is rolled away. Run, Peter, run, what do you see? Jesus is alive, the grave is empty. He's alive, he's alive, the stone is rolled away. He's alive, I see the empty grave. He's alive, the stone is rolled away. He's alive, I see the empty grave. I see the empty grave. I see the empty grave.
We ended last week with Jesus having been crucified and the cross on which he was crucified being on the hill called Calvary. We also said that we shouldn't despair because that was not the end of the story. So, as his body was taken down from the cross, it was wrapped and it was buried. It was put into a tomb, a cave that was cut out of the side of a hill where people were buried. The Jewish leaders made sure that a stone, a big rock, was put over the entrance of the cave. And then they sealed it with their seal and then put guards there to watch, just to make sure that nobody came to secretly take Jesus' body away. They did this because even they remembered that Jesus had said that when he dies, that on the third day that he was going to rise again. And so they had these guards guard the place just in case what Jesus said would happen Anyway, on the first day of the week, some women went to the tomb because what they wanted to do was to do the things that they normally did to dead bodies according to their tradition. And when they got there, behold, the stone was rolled away from the entrance of the cave. Now, the guards that were there witnessed something. They witnessed an earthquake, the stone being rolled away, and an angel sitting on the stone. They were scared. As a matter of fact, they were paralyzed with fear. The angel spoke to the women and said that they shouldn't be afraid, that the Jesus that they are looking for is no more here. He has risen from the dead. And then he asked them to take a look in the cave, in the tomb, and they saw that Jesus' body was not there. So the angel said to the ladies that they should go quickly to the disciples and tell them what they have seen. And that's what they did. And then these disciples, they wanted to see for themselves what these women were saying, especially Peter and John. They ran all the way to the tomb. And when they got there, they peeked inside and the cave, the tomb was empty. What they saw was the cloth that was used to wrap Jesus' body and the cloth that was used to wrap Jesus' head folded up and put to one side. You know, when Jesus was with them, he told them that this was going to happen. That when he dies, on the third day, he was going to rise again. That he would be alive again. And Peter and John seeing this, they now remembered what Jesus had said and understood. And then they went back home. When they went home, later on in the evening, Jesus appeared to his disciples. So, Jesus first appeared to the women, and then he appeared to the disciples. Jesus had really risen. Jesus was alive. Jesus is alive. Let us celebrate this resurrection day because Jesus is alive. And that's the end of the story.
Happy Easter! What a wonderful day as we celebrate Jesus' resurrection together. And for a bit of fun, I am going to show you a trick that you can use to tell your family and friends the wonderful news of Jesus' resurrection. So, Jesus, he died on the cross and then he was taken down and he was wrapped in a linen cloth. So here we are, look, we're wrapping him up. There we go. And then he was placed in a tomb. Okay, so I'm going to put Jesus wrapped in a cloth in the tomb. And then to make absolute certain that nobody came to steal the body, the leaders and the Romans, they sealed the tomb. There we go. And then they put 2 guards outside of the tomb. And they were there on Friday. And they were there on Saturday. And the disciples, they were so sad. But then on Sunday, there was an earthquake. And the guards, they fainted in fear. And the stone was rolled away from the entrance to the tomb. And the seal was broken. But inside the tomb, there was the linen cloth, folded up by itself. But Jesus wasn't there. He's not there because he had risen. Wow, isn't that amazing? And do you know how I did it? If you don't want to know, off you go. But if you do want to know, here's the trick. It wasn't really the power of God in our trick. It was, I had a second envelope. So in this one, I've still got Jesus wrapped up inside. Look, there he is. But in this one, I had the piece of kitchen towel folded up neatly and put inside. So if you would like to do this trick to show people what happened at Jesus' resurrection, what you need is 2 identical small envelopes and then a large envelope. You need 2 pieces of kitchen roll and you need a little picture of Jesus. So I'm going to show you how to draw the pictures. We'll start off with Jesus, and we've drawn Jesus before, haven't we? So we're going to begin by doing a slightly pointed circle for the head so that we've got his beard. We'll put in, there we are, some hair, his nose, his eyes. Now I realise when Jesus came off the cross, obviously he wouldn't have been dressed like this, but I didn't want to draw him all beaten and whipped. You can decide how you want to do it. Then we'll come down for his shoulders and his arms, and then we'll draw in his robe coming out like that. And then I've given Jesus this red sash. Now, I don't think Jesus really wore a red sash like that, but it's often how he's depicted in paintings, and it makes him quite recognisable. You can tell, oh, that's definitely Jesus. We'll put in his hands. Okay, when he's standing like this, his thumbs would come on the inside, so draw those, and then you can draw in his feet. There we go, and you can give him a mouth if you want. And then we get that all coloured in. So I just did a very pale yellow for his robe, red for his sash, nice dark brown for his hair and beard, and a nice pale brown for his skin. The next thing we're going to draw is the Roman guards. So we need 2 Roman guards on our envelope, our large envelope. And for this, we're going to start by doing quite a round head. There we go. And then we're going to put in their helmet. So just straight across the top. And then they have these sort of cheek guards that come in like this. And then here's the neck. And then they've got a bit that comes down guarding the back of the neck like that. Then we can put in the eyes, nose, bit of a grumpy mouth. Then, because they're wearing armour, we're going to make the shoulders that come down really straight, like it's made of metal. And then we'll come in, because this is the kind of sleeve bits of their breastplate, and then down towards their waist. And then they've got little fabric sleeves that come out underneath the top of their armour. You can see I've coloured them in red here. And then we're going to have our arms. One arm is coming down to hold onto the sword. Okay, so we'll just put in the sword handle, and then there's the blade. And the other arm is coming up to hold the spear. Now you can do this in pencil first. So you can draw in the arm and then rub out sections, but because I'm doing it in pen, I'm going to just draw in the arm afterwards. There we go. And for the top of the spear, kind of a pointy diamond. And you can see this hand, we've got the knuckles on the outside and then the fingers coming around on the inside, and a nice long handle of that spear. So he's standing on guard. Then there'll be a belt. You might remember from the talk about the armour of God, the belt is one of the important parts. And then it comes down into a little sort of kilt. And then there's a kind of, I think, leather sort of protector here across the front. And then for the legs, come in slightly for the knees, and then out slightly for the calf muscles, and then draw in shoes. And Romans wore what we call Roman sandals. They had lots of straps. So put in a lot of straps going across. There we go. And here we have our Roman. And we can just make his breastplate look a little bit more metallic like this. And you can see for the Roman, what I've done is I've coloured the armour, so the helmet and the breastplate, all the metal, the top of the spear and the blade of the sword, all in a grey. I've made his fabric sleeves and kilt bit in red, and then I've put brown for the handle of the spear, for the sandals and for this leather section, and then I've made his belt a nice bronzy kind of brown. So, 2 guards on here, and then the final thing is the tomb. And for the tomb, you need to draw 2 that are identical. So you need to keep them quite simple. Now for this, I am going to use pencil. So first of all, you want to draw a sort of archway. That's just for the cliff that it's cut out of. And then draw a second archway. That's for the entrance to the tomb. Okay? And then on this side, we're going to draw the huge stone. This is why I've done it in pencil, because now I've drawn in the stone, you can see we need to rub out those two lines because that would be behind the stone. There we go. And then for my tomb, all I've done is I've coloured the mouth of the tomb in black. There we go, rather roughly done. And then I've used what's called hatching and cross hatching just to put in a bit of shading onto the stone and onto the tomb. So you can do this. It's quite a good technique just for creating a sense of the rock. But what you want to try to do is draw two that are completely identical so that when you do the trick, people don't realise you've taken out a different envelope. Good. And once you've got all of those drawn, so your Jesus on a piece of paper and cut out, your two tombs and your guards, you're ready to do your trick. So in one envelope, you need to neatly as you can fold up a piece of kitchen roll to be the folded grave clothes, because do you remember when the women went to the tomb, they found the grave clothes folded up. So you put that one in and seal that up. It's quite good if you've got these resealable envelopes, because then you can do it as often as you want. But if you want it to look really good, you can always put a piece of sellotape over when they seal the tomb, and so it's really obviously sealed. Now, put this one into your envelope with the guards and make sure you've got it the right way up so that when you pull it out, it's the right way up. And I put that one in at the back, and then you tell your story about how Jesus came down from the cross, how he was wrapped, placed in the tomb, and then you seal that up. And this one, if you put that in at the front, and then you know when you take one out, make sure you take out the back one. Well, this is just a little trick, but we know that Jesus really was raised by the power of God. So why don't you go and enjoy celebrating that wonderful truth for the rest of the day. And I'll see you again soon. Bye!
All the events leading up to Jesus' crucifixion were really sad and unfair.
I can't imagine myself, or anyone else for that matter, going through what he went through.
Jesus was and is sinless, but because he loves us so much, he accepted to take our place, our punishment.
But I like how it ended though. He became alive again. He arose. He is alive. That's what resurrection means.
I think this is the most important event for Christians, those who follow Jesus. Jesus is alive, and because of that, he has given us new life.
That's right, Jamie. A new life where all who trust in him and accept him and call upon him have their sins forgiven.
Once again, happy Resurrection Day, and we hope you enjoy your celebration.
That's it for this week.
Till next time, bye!